The trailer for the India's biggest film, Ramayana, is out. And the audience is divided. The budget is around 2,000 to 4,000 crores. And the main producer of this film is not even a film studio.
This very sleeper giant kind of a company, most people have seen but forgotten.
It's an Indian VFX company listed on BSE. And they own the studio behind every film you have loved in the past decade.
This very small British VFX studio called Double Negative. And Prime Focus was like, this looks like the perfect company to acquire.
After that acquisition, they went on an Oscar spree.
They won 3 Oscars for 3 Christopher Nolan movies before Christopher Nolan himself won an Oscar for Best Director.
8 Oscars later, they're trying to be something that is much bigger than a VFX studio.
Their yearly revenue is like $500 million and they're
Yeah.
putting in $500 million into this movie.
This is a big bet for a VFX company. And the only question that remains is,
Do you think Ramayana will work? So today's episode is basically about this very sleeper giant kind of a company that most people have seen but forgotten, or most people have seen it but
Not noticed.
sure
Not remembered.
what
yeah.
it is. And it comes when the
I think most people have not even seen it because it
No,
comes in part of the movie that like you just
you
skip.
skip. Correct. Yeah.
But they are there in almost every single, like almost all great movies that most sort of guys would like.
Yeah.
Of hey, a
Guys
lot of
would
action.
like.
Yeah, I mean there's like that thing, right?
Yeah, true.
The female gaze, male gaze, like the action-packed adventure type thing. You have 100% seen their name, but you just
Yeah.
didn't
You just don't know
bother
that
to
it's
check
them.
what it was.
Very interesting story also why I actually went down this rabbit hole. A new trailer has come out, which is the Ramayana. So people are divided. There are people who are like, oh, this is good. And mostly the rest of the majority is like, oh, bro, this looks so AI and all that. I watched the teaser or trailer. I was like, bro, this is good.
It doesn't really look.
I liked it.
It actually looks really good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I really liked it.
Correct.
I love the music also. Like, what are people cribbing about? But one very interesting information, like, kind of caught my eye. Okay, it was Namit Malhotra's Ramayana. Like, why is it his? And I saw a lot of memes about like Valmiki looking at this and all that. I was like, bro, who is this guy? Because I haven't heard of him as a writer or anything. And this is the first time I came across that name. So I went down like, who is Namit Malhotra? It's like, oh, he's the CEO of, Prime Focus. Okay, what the fuck is Prime Focus? The first thing you get when you search for Prime Focus Ltd is its market cap in BSE. And it's about $3 billion. I like, bro, wait. I thought this is some film company. Until then, I didn't know of a film company that was on BSE or NSE. I was like, what is this?
Yeah, actually, I don't think I've seen any company that's like a public company providing some sort of services in the movie space.
Yeah. And I was like, bro, like, am I like, did I land upon the wrong thing?
Like a different company.
Yeah,
correct.
did I search
Even
for
I, when
the
I was
wrong
searching, I was
company?
like, it would no way that you have like a public company that's in this space. Makes no sense.
Yeah, and I was like, double checked it. It's the same thing. And bro, then I was like, it's very curious how there is a company like this. And that led me down this rabbit hole of what Prime Focus is and who is Namit Malhotra. And more digging led to like very interesting story of how this one guy having some ambition and like this very unique obsession about something that he saw can lead to something so
Correct.
big as this. This story specifically starts, I would say, at when his granddad, so Namit Malhotra comes from a family of filmmakers. I think his granddad was one of the first guys to do a color picture in India. And I think his dad also followed in the footsteps. He became a producer for films.
I think his granddad was a DOP.
Correct.
He was a cinematographer that shot the first color film in India.
Yes.
And I think his dad was, I guess, a director?
No, producer.
Producer.
His dad was a producer
Right.
and he has produced a bunch of Hindi movies. We will actually put a list of everything that they've shot or like produced in-house. I think the pivotal point for this story, especially how like this one guy changed the dynamic of VFX in India happened. Namit Malhotra, because he comes from a family of people who have been in films, So being in award ceremonies or like going to and watching movies has been like a normal thing for him since his childhood. He goes out, watches this film called, most people might also know it, this very small film called as Jurassic Park that was released by Steven Spielberg. He went into the movie not expecting something, but walked out with this astonishment of how can this be visualized. Came out of it, talked to his dad about this. This is all story. I think he has recapped it in some of his interviews. His dad like, why no, you should join like a VFX course or something. But apparently he was not very good at drawing. Went in, joined this VFX course, which is in the early 1980s. I think VFX was just coming out. Late 1980s, if I'm not wrong. That's when he actually started learning about this. Very interestingly, he went to the college to learn about VFX. And instead of learning, he recruited 3 of his lecturers to come start a small start. Now we can call it a startup. I think come out and start a small business on...
Which is basically an agency, like an editing agency.
Yeah. Now we can say it is an editing agency, but then it was just called editing, by the way.
Correct.
So somebody did it. They came out and started this small company called Video Workshop. And very interestingly, they did some of the most creative work that we have probably come across.
They did Boogie Woogie, Colgate Top 10, Gatha, I think bunch of things for Channel V. I feel like they would do like very prominent in the sort of live reality entertainment, not reality per se, but like these competitions that happen, right? So for all of the editing and post-production for these competitions that we would have seen growing up. Very interestingly, what I also, I was seeing like a bunch of his interviews, he was actually saying that, I mean, I come from a generation of filmmakers, so I knew that I have to be in this business. And then when he was 18, he says that I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I knew that I didn't want to do what my dad was doing, which was being a producer. And I did not understand technology or computers. And I was not a good art student. So he was like, I want to be in the movies, but I can't be like a director or, like one of these creative folks. And I think he was on a flight going somewhere when he met like a family friend. And they were like, okay, you're 18. Like, what do you want to do now? And he said that I want to be a director. Right, like that was his aspiration. The guy told him, why don't you also look into sort of, this whole VFX thing? It's
coming up,
kind of up and coming. And he said, no, I don't like drawing. I don't like technology. I can't do that. So then someone told him, dude, you realize that VFX it's not technology. It's the same thing that you're doing, right? There's storyboarding, there are camera angles. You're doing the same thing, but you're doing it on computer. I think that was the seed ki, let me go and do like a 3-month course.
Is interesting. Why I should go do like a 6-week course, bro. It's not even 3 months.
I think he said it's like a short term, couple of weeks worth of course. And I don't think he learned anything there also. It was more of him just going and exploring it. Dude, when you look at him talk, right? And I've seen his interviews across the board. It's very clear that like, dude, he's really intense. Like he's a shark. Like you can tell that this guy is like a force to be reckoned with, right? And even if you look at the overall trajectory, like they started off with just normal TV shows and competitions and things like that. Then they slowly moved into ads. I think they moved into like Indian movies, Indian TV shows.
Correct.
Then they sort of really conquered the Indian market. Then they're like, okay, what next? Then they went and bought like different acquired companies outside. Then they cracked the Hollywood. So I feel like this is very exemplary of someone starting in an industry and not waiting for the industry to give him permission to do something.
Yeah.
And that's what, like, we'll get to this, but that's what I found very fascinating because I feel like I'm in a similar place, right? Like, where so many of people like us who are strategists, editors, wannabe agency owners or entrepreneurs in this YouTube media space, where we are like, we want to build something big, but oftentimes you wait to see that, it can happen, like a Yas can be made, so then I can do it. Versus just being like, hey, it's okay that no one has done it, but it means I'll be the first one to do it. I think that's a very important sort of lesson that I learned off of this story.
Yeah, 100%. And very interestingly, they stuck to their guns. They did the workshop and they were basically like, we'll start this video workshop. This is the company that will run. And they were doing like a lot of intro material for people. So all these computer VFX stuff that was actually coming on shows and everything, they were producing it. from this shop. But he distinctly says that, yeah, they were a small shop, but they always had the creative edge in this industry, because you always need that whenever like a new show comes out, you have to stand out in some sense, and they had that creative edge for that sense. So they were growing in this factor. But I feel why this guy has been able to break all the barriers, and why like he was able to grow something so small into that big of a thing. I think he used all the leverage possible from his side. His dad used to run a rentals business for production equipment.
Yeah, I think he merged it with his editing
So he's
thing.
like, if he is renting out equipment and I am doing editing, why not give that as like a combined agency thing? So they merged the video workshop into the company, and then called it Prime Focus. And that was, I think, the birth of the name as well.
Right.
And it became Prime Focus Ltd. And for all the people and all the shows and all these movies that they were renting out equipment to, they started sort of doing any smaller work, editing work and other things that they were going to do. And that's how they sort of scaled that business through and through. Very interestingly, they have a lot of firsts. Okay. And I think this is like the creative genius of why these guys have been able to build an empire off of doing VFX. 2001, they were the first to convert films into digital copies
Yes.
of those films. So they bought the first scanning machine, which helped them scan like film rolls into actual digital media. That was their
I think
first
he was
endeavor.
always very sort of aggressive in adopting new technology. But one thing I wanted to say before this is that I feel like when I was thinking of this, right, I have read that one book called Inspiration Inc. It's by the founders of Pixar.
Okay.
And the whole idea of, hey, we started this from a garage, and like they started in 95. I really thought that, hey, this reminds me of what I read about the origin story of Pixar also, right? Because if I'm not wrong, in the early 1980s, George Lucas from Star Wars had hired Ed Catmull, who is like the founder of Pixar,
Okay.
one of the founders of Pixar, and he hired him into his sort of, I don't know if it was like production company, and into like the technology wing, right? Because Ed had that experience of 2D graphics using like a computer, and that's how the Pixar story started. And of course, the key difference there was they were not just doing the technology, but they were also owning the IPs, right? They were owning the IPs, they were making the movies. I guess they were also distributing the movies, but like the more leverage there, right? Which now, when I sort of think of what Prime Focus is also doing, now they are also doing the same thing, right? Like now they are also investing. He's a producer in Ramayana, and they are not just making the movies, but they're also helping other people make the movies. They're also doing it themselves, which, if this bet plays out, I think Prime Focus will be like
We'll
a
get to
massive
this. I have a
company.
very interesting theory as to why this might be the case also. So basically in 2001, as I mentioned, they bought the first scanning technology that could convert film rolls into digital media.
Right.
That was a big win because like television was on the boom.
Correct.
And they had the tech now. In 2003, they built the first DI system in India. So DI, for those of who might not know,
Which
will
is
actually know
everyone.
it. Will actually know it. It's like how you color your footage.
Okay.
Okay. You need to have an interface to be able to actually do it.
Color footage as in like color correction.
Color correction. Because most of the color that you see in movies was actually shot while it was shot. So there's no way to actually change the actual...
Modify it in editing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if you had to do it, you now, because you have had access to the digital technology, it's called color grading now, but it's also called DI. DI was how do you convert the color to look the same on a digital interface.
Okay.
That's where like the whole DI thing came about. But now it's like you shoot digital, you see it on TV as well. They built the first tech for that. In 2004, they opened a motion controlled rig facility in India, and they were the first people to do so.
Right.
For the people who are thinking, it's basically how you capture motion data that later down the line you will use it for VFX. Very interestingly, 2006, they were India's first VFX company that went out,
They did an
that
IPO.
became public. Exactly. They launched an IPO.
I feel like it's very clear that he's been betting on, like he does almost like a full stack model, right? Where
Correct.
he thinks of, hey, what are the problems that I'm facing? And then he just sort of integrates it into his own business, right? That, I am only doing editing, but then you also need post-production, let me add that.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, you also need in VFX. Why are we only doing the editing in VFX? Why can we not also help you do, let's say, the production part, right? Or the motion.
Yeah.
That's where the motion control thing
So
comes.
I think it's more like integration, right? So we have to do VFX. To do better VFX, you need like input data.
Correct. So he'll just like sort of consolidate it himself, right?
Exactly.
Another interesting thing that I heard was, I don't know when this was, I guess in the early, like mid 2000s only, after they went public. Dude, they have been creating softwares left, right and center, you know? They created a cloud software for media and entertainment. Because they have also been getting into enterprise level like media, right? I don't know exactly what that means. I guess for like these large companies, whatever media that they are making, let's say you have like a large L&D library, right? For like learning and development. So like you need a system to be able to manage that. They created, you know how we use frame.io now? They created a version of frame.io like 15 years ago. They just didn't open it to the market. It was just like for themselves.
It was an enterprise thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So even when I was watching I think it was like a Young Turks interview, I could see, like, I was like, oh, are those comments in the videos at timestamps? Are those, they have like these different ways of storing and things like that. I was like, makes so much sense that if you're operating at that scale,
correct.
So you just sort of consolidate and be like, oh, mere koi problem hai, let me just like do it myself, right? Under all one umbrella. So that was a repeating trend that I saw. So one was the DI part where they do the color correction. Then there were the apps. I think the breakthrough really came when Avatar came out in 2009.
Actually, slightly, like if we go just before that, I would say, I think Avatar came in 2009. Correct? Slightly before this, they were at their peak in India. I'd say 2005-6. I think they had reached.
Dude, he had a Ferrari right before he went public, so the man was minting. Yeah,
true. So they were at their peak at this point, and they were looking at expansion. Now they understood Indian market as a whole. What we are doing for them is good, but the money relatively was smaller. So they had global ambitions. 2006, 2007, if I'm not wrong, they expanded aggressively.
They opened different places.
Insanely, bro.
I think 14 different places. Yeah.
Correct. They went from 1.5 office because they had like a smaller office. Both offices were in Mumbai, if I'm not wrong. So they had like 1.5 office. So they moved from 1.5 offices to 14 in a matter of 2 years. And that was like, even for like a normal company also, the expansion was insane. I would say like, you won't think of expanding in that scale. Why it's important for us to know, or like around 2006-7, aggressive expansion they did. They bought a bunch of companies, but then 2008 crash hit. It feels like it went so bad that they were very close to dissolving the company or very close to bankruptcy. This is at a time when they have become the biggest in India and also become public. And public companies can't go bankrupt very easily and look really bad on like one Indian ecosystem and also BSE and NSE. Because
I think delisting the company is very...
Delisting the company should be on a positive term. Like the company pays off money to all the investors and takes the shares away. That's the only ending a public company should have, according to the IPO commission or whoever those guys are. And I think this actually laid the foundation for like how the company did furthermore thinking. And like you were saying, the 2009, once Avatar came out, I think that became like the biggest thing. And you were saying something about it.
He talked about it in some interview. Avatar was the turning point where
people understood potential of 3D.
People started thinking that, oh, like, shit, this is something that we need to do because like this will be the new unlock.
Correct.
And I guess after this, there was that movie
Clash of
the Titans, where
Disney's
they
movie.
decided that in the next 10 weeks before release, we want to convert it into 3D.
So, very interesting story here. How a failure can turn into the biggest opportunities in life. So, Disney had completely finished. they are at the end of post production for Clash of Titans, and they are trying to, now that Avatar was a super hit in 3D, they're like, why not do this in 3D? Why not release in 3D? Actually, we have shot in 2D, everything is done. Why not go out and release this in 3D somehow? Because like so many people are watching, why not like use the hype? And now they wanted somebody who could actually make it happen. They are like about 12 or 10 to 12 weeks away from their
10
release.
weeks away, yeah.
And now they are looking for somebody who can actually come in and do it.
Correct.
Interestingly, Prime Focus takes this job up.
And they had done it before for a previous movie also. Yeah.
But not of this scale and tight timelines.
Dude, you know, this is so like this is a classic agency problem, right?
Yeah.
Like you get a project that you think is like you have bitten more than you can chew.
Correct.
And the whole job is for you to figure out how to get it done.
Exactly.
Because that is how you unlock the next level, right? Dude, I think like reading this entire story, I was just thinking that, fuck man, people can learn so much from his entire journey and process, because this is exactly what happens. You have a project that you think that you're going to get like belted completely trying to even get it, but then you sort of unlock this new level which you didn't even realize that, oh, like fuck, I can do this.
Now I have it. What the fuck do I do now?
Yeah. And dude, the money that they were charging for this was like incredible. They were charging $100,000 a minute for conversion.
Yeah.
That's like $6-7 million per movie.
Bro, also, I'll tell you how a 2D movie is converted into a 3D movie. Okay. So, okay, you have a 2D panel. Okay. What you have to do is, depending on which layer the element is, so you basically roto everything out of a frame. So, even if there is a small bug going, you roto it out for the entirety of wherever it's walking around. You do that with everything you see on screen. Okay, if you are thinking of a person, no, that person is divided into head, torso, arms, joints. So here to here is one element, here to here is one element, your hand becomes another element, your fingers. So like everywhere you have a joint, think of the between thing as a one element. You have to roto everything, because the depth perception changes, no? So you are basically taking that, now you have marked everything and you're taking that slate and now adding depth to it. So what you're doing basically is, if let's say in the 2D frame something was behind, so you are sort of like projecting it behind. So it works on like this blue red technology, right? So you are calibrating that to look further behind. And if there is a bug in the foreground, you're tracking it so it looks further ahead in
Crazy, man.
And you had to do that for the entire movie, bro. It's not 1-2 frames, right? Do that for the entirety of movie.
Dude, no wonder they became as sort of prominent, because no one was willing to put in that work.
But very interestingly, I think I have never seen a 3D movie get harsher critics than that movie, especially Clash of Titans. Because, bro, it was exceptionally well done for a 2D movie, but 3D was crap. Can understand.
Makes sense. It's like the
first, first time they are doing it was shot for 2D and sort of like they were sort of cross-fitting it for 3D types. Bro, think about it, right? You made it for something else. You're trying to fit it somewhere else.
Correct.
Didn't work. Every critic was like, bro, don't watch. This is useless. But for somebody who is in the background seeing this, if I was a producer or if I was a filmmaker doing, and if I see some company, some small company out of India actually figured out how to make a 2D film into 3D in 10 weeks. I'm like, bro, what?
Dude, I think that's...
It takes years for us to do this, bro. What is this?
I feel like it's so much revenue unlock at so little expense, right?
Yeah.
Like you're not I don't know if normally 3D movies are shot in a different way or edited in a different way.
It is shot differently.
Or what the scene is, but clearly like it's kind of like content repurposing, right? Because you've already shot the long form, and with very little additional effort, you can sort of 100x the output or the reach that you can get, right?
One thing I'll tell you, 3D movies are shot differently, okay? It's not small. The cameras are way expensive when you're actually shooting it. And very interestingly, it's shot like very differently. Now we would not have the time to explain it theoretically how it works. But 3D movies are shot differently than 2D movies. 2D movies is a single camera that you shoot at. 3D movies are shot at multiple cameras concurrently. for it to give that effect also, by
Got
the
it.
way.
Makes sense.
So-
But dude, after that, I think they really sort of unlocked an entirely new level. George Lucas is said to have personally chosen them for converting all of
Star Wars,
the
right?
Star Wars trilogy into 3D.
Yeah.
They did it for Harry Potter, Deathly Hallows 1 and 2,
Yeah.
Narnia, Transformers,
Yeah.
Wrath of Titans, Shrek 2.
Yeah.
So I feel like, and just imagine like the amount of money that they were making. He was charging anywhere from $6 to $12 million per movie. Right, so that's like you do 10 movies, dude. He did this in 10 weeks. Even if you let's say triple that, right? You do it in like 30 weeks. That's 6 months.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you can do like multiple jobs parallelly.
Yeah.
So imagine he was doing like probably whatever tens of millions of dollars worth of revenue. In a year.
Bro, more than that, nobody could match the scale. I think where these guys won, all these hires that they did, they didn't know what to do. They put it to good use once they hit scale. They reached a phase where they were like, bro, like doing quantity is not just enough. Because like, okay, like India was also known for like this bulk work, pretty much. Like if you want to get your VFX work done for cheap and like nominal quality, you send it to India. That is still the case. Even at the height of Prime Focus, they were still like considered as somebody you send your work to as a thoda tik-tak work types. They do good work, but not something that you would rely on types. They are not the primary studio yet. And they're like, we are so big, we're generating revenue like nobody else. But when do you become a primary studio? It's when you are able to prove yourself as such. And here comes this very small British VFX studio called Double Negative. By now, they had done some phenomenal work and also had won one Academy Award.
Academy Award is Oscar, right?
Yes. So it's Oscar Academy Awards. So one film of which they had won for was Inception. And Prime Focus was like, this looks like the perfect company to acquire.
I wonder how they were able to sort of like even buy them, because either you have to be making like a shit ton of money to give them an offer they can't.
That's not the case. Okay. You think of Ford versus Ferrari, right? This is something that I was also going in my head. How does like a Indian company acquire a British company?
No, I think Indian company acquiring British company is still possible, but
you would imagine like a bigger studio as a whole.
You would imagine that someone that's won an Oscar, that is like Christopher Nolan's favorite VFX studio, to be doing big enough that it doesn't need to be acquired. So
exactly.
That was...
So this is basically a Ford acquiring Ferrari situation. You're thinking ki Ferrari is big enough, it should be able to sustain itself.
But because it's boutique, it's smaller.
Yeah, no, because the quality of work that they were pushing out, they're still small as a revenue stream.
Right.
The revenue they're
that's
actually
what, because
able to
they're
generate
boutique,
is not
they're
big.
smaller.
Yeah.
But after that, they went on a like bender, man. They won 7 more Oscars under the new acquisition, like DNEG, Interstellar, Ex Machina, Blade Runner, First Man. I haven't seen that one. Tenet, Dune Part 1, Dune Part 2.
Like, see the difference in years all of a sudden. They were a couple of years old. Okay, their first first Academy Award came at Inception.
2011.
Correct.
Then 14.
See the frequency, right?
Yeah, Interstellar 14 they won, 15 Ex Machina, 17 Blade Runner, 18 First Man, 2020 Tenet, beach mein there was pandemic. Dude, basically every year they've won an Oscar.
Yeah, give or take, almost every year they are winning. Basically, they are one of the biggest contenders for it.
Correct. And you know what? They won 3 Oscars for 3 Christopher Nolan movies before Christopher Nolan himself won an Oscar for Best Director.
Crazy. But I think this got me thinking, okay. I think the only barrier for something like Double Negative was also that they didn't have scale. They have all the
because they
right
didn't have
talent.
Yeah. Because
in-house.
they didn't have talent.
No,
As in, like, they didn't have
skill.
mass talent. Yeah.
Exactly. As far as VFX is concerned, it's a problem solving thing to do. How do you make an effect look great is if you have solved that problem, and all the Academy Awards is won by somebody who has done that. Somebody who has solved like an impossible problem that nobody has solved until then. That's what the VFX award is, give or take. If you see like why they have won, all these people who have won VFX awards, if you see, you will understand why they have won that. Tenet, you will know why they have won it. Ex Machina, if you see, you know why they have won it. For a company as DNEG, like Double Negative before that, they didn't have the scale to be able to pull off more projects, to be able to do more things. Now suddenly
I think,
they're had like,
correct. I feel
Bro,
like
what do you need?
that's where like with DNEG they got exposure to like more foreign clients. They got the already sort of credibility that was built by the brand of DNEG, and then they could pair it with the like just sheer amount of workforce that they had with their existing Prime Focus thing. So the two together, the expertise came from DNEG, the talent came from like the people came from Prime Focus, and they were able to like expand very quickly. This is another thing I was thinking, and we were talking about this before the recording also. This sounds like Prime Focus did for the movie business what Wipro and TCS did for the IT business.
very close.
Right?
100%.
I mean, I feel like Wipro and TCS have like a very, they do massy grunt work type thing, but I'm sure they have like more sort of niche and higher end
They might be then
consultations
might not
that they
be,
also do.
we don't exactly know.
I'm not sure, but clearly Prime Focus was able to sort of climb through the ranks. I feel like every 5 years they were like, oh shit, like something new has come. Let's invest in this, let's invest in that. They have an enterprise AI platform now. In collaboration with Google Cloud. I don't know exactly what it does, but dude, he's been investing in tech for the longest time. Ironically, even though he doesn't understand tech, right? Or at least when he started,
he claims that he doesn't.
When he started, he was like, I don't like tech, I don't understand tech.
Yeah, but all their investment has been in tech.
Yeah, all of this happened. Then I think
I know what the AI does, by the way.
What does it do?
So okay, VFX, when you're solving for it, no, when you're capturing it, you have, bro, like somebody has in their mind imagined what it's going to look like. So your VFX supervisor is telling you what is going to happen. So the director is basically listening to his words and feeling like, aisa kuch ho sakta hai at the end of the day. As a director or anybody, the first time he'll be able to see it is use that whatever is there, do a VFX render, even a very minimal render. At least only then he's able to get an idea of what is happening on screen. Or else it's just basically people in suits moving around, or like he's just like sort of throwing out imaginations out there types, or like a one art scene. I don't know what is happening. I can see the art scene, good. But the AI that they are investing in is to solve this problem. You don't have to wait weeks to see what it's going to look like. You can see it in real time. No.
Then?
So let's say if you had this idea of like you have the character ready.
So from idea to first render.
Yeah, first render. They are trying to reduce that time to 0.
So you can
do
make
a live
decisions
vision
faster of
exactly.
This is what it could look like.
Exactly. So after render, you need not go back and say, no, I don't like it this way. You have to change it. It has to be this way.
Right.
Instead of doing that later down the line, you do it now.
I would love to talk to him about like how to run a creative businessman, because if you think about it, he reminds me so much of Arihant. He does something similar, right, with WLED from what I know.
Yeah.
Like he started off in an industry where he bet big that, hey, memes will be a thing. Right? And then memes did become a thing. Like this guy bet that VFX will be a thing, and VFX did become a thing, right? Then I think Arihant off late has been, WLED has been like acquiring companies left, right and center, right?
Yeah.
Now, I don't know exactly why that is, but I'm sure it has like some strategic thing behind it, right? That we want to expand in certain areas. And I feel like myself as an agency owner, I was like, shit, this is like a mini MBA crash course, because you have to invest in tech and processes that make you stand out from the crowd in your service, right? So even if I were to look at all of the agencies that are doing well in India right now, like the new age sort of Instagram first agencies, right? They either have a creative first approach, or they just have like a process set in place, like Yas, for instance. I wouldn't call Yas like the most creative, right? I think some of their channels are very creative, like what they do with AV and breakdown and things like that. But most of what they do, the client work, it's like they have really mastered that one framework and they're repeating it everywhere, right? So I would say that for their client work, more than their creativity, it's the back end that they have really they have made it so strong that that's their moat. Right? So it's the hiring process, it's the getting the right talent, it is getting the presenter, it is having the studio space, it's having like 4 the pod setup that you have 4 people, and like just because of the density of talent, you put something, you'll get like a really decent output in the first try, right? Versus like smaller agencies would then struggle finding the right editor, retaining the editor, so like their operations is very strong. Then there are certain agencies, let's say like a Talented, where their creative is very strong. right?
Correct.
Or you might have other agencies that like have a mix of the two.
Yeah.
Right, that hey, like they've really figured out this one niche and how to like repeat this, like Binge Labs, for instance, for personal branding, right?
But what these guys have been able to solve for, which is scale and quality, is very few. Like you won't come across a lot of people who have done that, like by far.
I really want to talk to their sort of chief creative officer, because man, they went from 4 people in whatever 1995 to now they have like some
10,000
9,000, 10,000 people.
Yeah, close to.
I would love to know how they train their people. Because if you are at the forefront of something like this,
Yeah.
you have to really create very like strong and reliable systems of how do you not just train people, but like you're the ones who are often creating the technology.
Correct.
So you are the one creating these methods and like ways of doing things, and you are finding the people and you are training them. And creative businesses are not known to like pay the most, so it's not like they're attracting as much talent as tech, right? So I feel like they have done something definitely at the back end of it to find these people, to train them the right way. There's a lot of alpha in figuring out what that is that they did for like new age agencies today, because that's a problem I face daily. Right? Like how do you find the experienced editors, or if you have the right editors, how do you train them, right? How do you sort of have that talent funnel in place? But yeah, I think after this, what they ended up doing, I mean, of course, they did Ramayana now. They're doing Ramayana now.
Correct.
They also did Brahmastra, I guess.
Brahmastra Part 1. But they were not actually producers, they were co-producers then.
Right.
Yeah.
And now he's sort of eventually evolved to the place where he's investing as much as his like yearly revenue, basically.
Yeah.
Right? Their yearly revenue is like $500 million, and they're
Yeah.
putting in $500 million into this movie.
Yeah, at least that is what he said in one of the interviews, but like official numbers still are around like 100 to 150 million dollars. That's what like officially claimed right now. So we don't know. Something in between 150 million dollars to 500 million dollars, I guess.
Right.
And which is still like significant part of the revenue, by the way.
Correct. Yeah. But I mean, that's where the game always ends up, right? That you own the thing that people have. This is why you see so many of the actors become producers. That's why Shah Rukh Khan has, I think, Red Chili Entertainment, and then like almost all big actors have their own studios, right? So they fund their own movies, so they have like a cut of the profits. What's the takeaway here? What should
so one thing I always had this question, okay? It's like, okay, the very big VFX studio, perfect, mind-blowing. And Ramayana is not like a new thought. Everybody wants to do a Ramayana and they want it to be the biggest thing ever. Sadly, none of it has come to fruition, if we are being honest about it. My biggest question was, okay, why is a VFX studio co-producer on something like a Brahmastra? I always had this question when I was going through also. Like, because in fact, astonishingly, that is the first time they were a co-producer on something. Like, why did they even reach to a phase of co-producing? Astonishingly, like suddenly they do Ramayana, which is like full-fledged Hollywood budget level movie doing in India. And you don't take that big a bit all of a sudden, no? And like, why is like a VFX studio betting that much money on being the producers of a film? Okay, here I'm speculating, okay. COVID, when like all the work had stopped, if I'm not wrong, they personally did a few in-house projects. And I think they saw the advantage of having something like that. Because as a VFX studio, your revenues are dependent on the number of projects that you run. All of this depends on how the market is running. Now, how do you hedge against something like this? So how do you hedge yourself with like, and make sure that you don't run out of projects as a whole? And I think once the COVID hit, and very interestingly, I'll talk about why I mentioned in the 2008 crash also. I think both these crashes got them thinking, we need to work on our own projects also. It shouldn't be only the external projects that we get in and work on. Right. We need to have an internal wing where we are doing our personal projects. So this will mean two things. One, they have projects to work on if everything goes to shit. And also, this will lead to substantially more returns. Because as a studio, you take a fixed income. But as a producer, you take like a variable income depending on how successful the project gets. And I think that's the bigger bet they are going for. I think that play was brilliant. I think Brahmastra, they sort of tested the waters. Brahmastra was one of the biggest collection movies until that point. And I personally feel they waited until now because they wanted the market to sort of mature for a movie of this budget.
Right.
Because spending like, I don't know how much, official numbers when they come out will know. If they're spending that much money, they want to make sure ki we are able to get that money back off.
Dude,
of
what's the
this.
highest grossing movie in India so far?
Dhurandhar, now it's still running. No,
But how much is it?
It's
How much
still
did it
not
make?
touched 2,000 crores.
But assuming it does, right?
It won't maybe.
Let's
Let's
say that
say
it does.
Optimally, it does.
Let's say
Crosses 2,000
lifetime
crores.
it crosses 2,000 crores.
Sure.
But these guys are investing 4,000 crores into the movie.
Bro,
Supposedly.
that's very variable numbers currently. Somebody says like,
I've heard that
this or
800 number. I've heard the 4,000 number. You
also.
take the midpoint, you take 2,000
2,000.
also. So they're investing as much as like a I wouldn't call it generational, but like a
highest grossing movie until now.
insane movie like Dhurandhar made.
Yeah.
Right.
Highest grossing, bro. Forget movie how it's made and all.
Right.
Highest
So
grossing movie until now.
it is the most successful movie till date.
Yeah.
They're investing as much as it made into making the next movie, right? Into the next bet.
Yeah.
So it will be it's coming out in 2027, I guess, right? Like Diwali
No,
next year.
I think part 1 is coming this year.
Oh, Ramayana is coming this year.
Part 1 is coming this year. I think they'll release the next part also next year.
I did not know that. Interesting.
Yeah.
And I think Ranbir Kapoor was there in Brahmastra.
Yeah.
And he's also there in
There
Ramayana.
Ramayana.
Damn, dude.
I can see it, bro. I can see the vision. They bought into the idea of Brahmastra and they co-produced. Basically meaning like they give more like resources and stuff into this and probably help financially also. Honestly, the writing is not great, but the VFX in Brahmastra is incredible. Like at least at that point in a Indian movie, I had never seen such good implementation of VFX until then. So I can see like how they would like think to become producer,
Right.
but it'll be very interesting to see if their bet will pay off
Correct.
because this is their biggest bet till date. I
Right.
would say. No, I think they've bought other companies, which might be something else. But
Dude,
like
this is
I said,
equal to how much they make in a year. So it's I don't think they've done this any time before.
yeah, making big bets is essential to the growth. But I think at the end of the day, like big bets are very important. That's one big takeaway for me.
Yeah.
I would say, bet on technology. I guess.
I'd say that you really need to understand the service that you're providing, right? Or the product that you have. I mean, not product so much, it's basically like a service business. And you need to understand what are the blockers that you have, right? And you have to invest in those blockers, right? So if talent is a blocker, you need to invest in that blocker. Hence, Yas I guess editing cohort came first and then Yas came, but then now it's sort of like a mutual symbiotic thing, right? If let's say tech is a thing, then you need to invest in tech, right? That, hey, like we are doing a lot of these things, it's going to unlock a certain amount of value, so then you need to do that. I feel like there are very few companies I've seen do it at this scale and do it this well. He's a phenomenal operator for sure. It's very clear. Even I think the one thing we missed was how he raised more money. I don't really understand the financials of it. One, I saw their company, they have like 50 different companies, like 50 different subsidiaries.
Yeah.
And second, he raised more money for Prime Focus Limited.
Yeah.
That increased his share from like a minority to a majority
holder. Yeah.
like using someone else's money, which I was like, how does that even work?
Yeah.
And I don't know if that was for the public company, because I don't know if you can do that in a public company.
Bro, I didn't understand this whole situation. That's why I was like, bro, I
feel like it was like a different.
I don't want to bring this up.
Yeah, it was a different sort of, it was like a different named entity or something like that.
Right.
But whatever. So that was like a big thing that happened. But the good part is that he's not trying to cash out.
Yeah.
He's sort of he's not cashing out. He's investing more and more into it, and he's sort of digging his heels back and saying that no, like I'm even more invested into the future, right?
Yeah.
I think that's always that's the biggest green flag in like a founder.
Yeah, 100%.
That like you're super invested in how the company is, and you have this vision for what it will be, even if let's say like shit's not working or shit is working, like you're like, dude, I'm gonna do this forever, right?
The biggest question I think I have right now, do you think Ramayana will work?
I don't know. I feel like, I mean, one, I'm not a big movie person, so that's there.
I can
But
clearly-
I mean, if Dhurandhar is of any indication, it feels like people want something different,
Yeah.
right? So, will the VFX in Ramayana be enough to be called different? I don't know. I think ever since, what was the first movie, Bahubali, right? That had like the grand sort of VFX type thing.
Yeah.
Movies before
Agreed.
that had not had that.
Yeah, like a very big movie that had VFX and collected big money. I would say Bahubali was the first one.
Correct.
Yeah.
Then Bahubali was there. Then maybe not Pushpa so
No,
much, but
Pushpa is not
Brahmastra
very...
was there.
Yeah, Brahmastra was there.
And now Ramayana is there.
Yep.
So maybe this is a trend of like you have insanely high production, sort of these mythological storylines that you're talking about. That works. And I guess like it's been a while since we've seen Ramayana.
Yeah,
right?
like the music score.
Or Mahabharata,
Yeah.
or I don't know, there are...
You mean a good movie come out of this?
I don't remember seeing...
Bro,
like,
Adipurush came out, bro. I've seen it, bro.
oh, I haven't seen Adipurush. Yeah, I
Don't.
I don't.
Bro, you know, I wanted to like finish that movie. I've seen it in 5
Who is
separate
in Adipurush?
segments.
Dude, let's not talk about movies,
No.
man. Someone was telling me, dude, you guys should not be talking about movies.
Nobody,
And
bro.
I can't blame them.
Sarkate was telling us
No,
not to
not
talk
even
about
Sarkate. It was,
Oh, shit,
it
okay.
was someone else. It was like a past guest.
Why?
No, someone.
This
I
is
think.
shit at it.
No. Two people were watching and they're like, dude, they don't know jack about movies. And I was like, yeah, dude.
Yeah,
I don't blame you.
No, I know.
But anyway, so
by the way,
I mean, I don't know, man. Like my negative knowledge compensates, like evens out your knowledge. Like for me, the biggest lessons has been like the operator piece of being so high conviction in what you're doing and sort of investing back into your own. So if there are any agency owners or aspiring operators in the media landscape who are watching, I would say that that should be the takeaway, right? Like invest as heavily as possible into, take big bets. So I'll give you some examples. There is a new trend that I'm noticing of a lot of YouTube channels diving into 3D animations. So something like a Zach D Films or something like a Fern. Have you seen Fern? So Fern is like a 3D. It's a 3D environment. And it's basically like Zach D Films minus the texture.
okay, got it.
Right? And it's very similar. It's like very intricate, high quality, high value. There are multiple such channels that have like spawned out now that, especially with AI, with Blender, you can like connect MCPs and get them to get Claude to basically make everything. Can you create a system that can do that at scale? Right? Like, can you be the owner of like 100 different channels in different languages and different that can do something like that, right? Or if, let's say, another thing I was thinking was, can YouTube and the creator economy grow to a point where what Prime Focus did for Hollywood, someone in India can do for YouTube? Like right now, Mr. Beast, with the scale of production that he has a lot of in-house editors, right? Can it come to the point where there can be an agency or a studio out of India that is doing this for Mr. Beast? And I think Mr. Beast has opened the floodgates to sort of YouTube videos being that high production.
Yeah.
There are other channels who are also doing it at that scale, right? I would argue that Mr. Beast like sort of competes with Hollywood at this point.
Yeah.
Right. And in terms
Pretty
of
much.
scale and reach and all of that. So maybe in the future we'll see rise of smaller agencies or new age agencies that are only catering to large scale YouTube businesses. Right? Or large scale YouTube channels.
Yeah.
Imagine like a MKBHD or a PewDiePie or a Markiplier, them doing massive Markiplier's movie, right? Like, why can't an agency do a movie for only YouTubers, right? Like now that's like a thing,
Right.
And even when you see where YouTube is going, it's coming on television,
Yeah.
right? So now it's sort of going in that same direction. So of course, like companies like Prime Focus will also get more business, but I feel like these YouTube videos on television are not as big as normal movies, right? Because they don't have the same A-listers, they don't have the same sort of
budgets.
Yeah, but then you need something in the middle,
Yeah.
right? You don't need like the lower end agencies that are working in the
That is
thousands
shit
of
work
dollars
and all
range.
that. Huh.
You don't need Prime Focus that's working like the millions of dollars
Also,
per movie
yeah.
range. You need something in the middle.
Which
So I
is
think
like
that
a couple of
could-
tens of thousands of dollars.
tens to hundreds of thousands of dollars per project, where that is the white space that you could be like sort of building for, right? And this is the time when like so much is happening. AI is happening. I'm also very bullish on new kind of media tech. Apple has those Vision Pros, right?
Correct.
Then Ray-Ban has the Meta Ray-Ban glasses.
Ray-Ban glasses, yes.
I believe that we will go away from like screens like this and we will go towards more integrated media consumption.
Okay.
Meaning it will be so much closer to you, right? Like when you're walking, why is it that you have to put on earphones or headphones in order to watch or listen to something, right? Why can you not just have it around you somewhere? I feel like we'll go away from screens because screens is still like, it's one medium away, right? It'll be so much closer to like how we are experiencing it right now, or even something like
But I don't think so, because tech and physical development of products, I think hardware and software doesn't grow in a similar rate. I don't think hardware can catch up to how fast the software has grown. I don't feel like that would be like the next biggest thing that would happen, which is like instead of screens we'll move into wearables, but that will be an interesting bet to
I
see.
mean, I don't know if it will be wearables. Smartphones came out maybe 20 years ago, early 2000s, right? Like the screen came out early 2000, the touch screen came out then. We are due for a massive change again, right? I don't know what that change will be. I mean, we've seen AI in software. We will see a change in hardware. I don't know what that will be, but then because of that, media will also change, right? Because media consumption will also change. So that was sort of my takeaways.
Yeah. Takeaway that I personally had was take if you think the future is this, take a big bet on it. And I think because they come from the industry or like be in the industry to take a call on if it's going to work or not going to work.
Correct.
But I think they did like a lot of good calls on tech, and I would say have a way to verify if it's a good call and to take big bets on tech, I would say, because the atmosphere, like the whole dynamic is changing so much.
Right.
I think that's bound to happen.
Makes sense. Cool. Is that the pod?
That's the part.
I think that's the pod. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Like, share, subscribe. Also, there's a new feature called Hype. I don't know if you've already asked this before, but please hype this video. I want to see what happens if we can get this video. This is a really nice episode.
Yeah.
Can we hype it and get some hype points?